Guys, don't ever pull the fire alarm unless there's a real fire. If you pull the fire alarm without a real fire, then you can get arrested for doing that. If you pull the fire alarm in school without a real fire in the school, then you can get suspended from school or expelled, and you can get grounded for doing that. So you don't ever pull the fire alarm in a public building without a real fire. You only pull the fire alarm if you see a real fire. Never do it without any fire, okay? Only pull the fire alarm if there's a real fire in the building. When I was in elementary school, there were kids that pulled the fire alarm when there was no real fire in the building and got in a lot of trouble for doing that. So, don't ever pull the fire alarm unless there's a real fire in the building. If you detect a real fire, then pull the fire alarm to alert everybody, but if you're doing it just for fun, you can't do that. You only pull this when there's a real fire. I mean, if you pull the fire alarm without any smoke or flames, you can get in a lot of trouble for doing that. So, never pull the fire alarm unless you see smoke or flames. If you see smoke or flames, pull the fire alarm, but if you don't see any smoke or flames, don't pull it. Or else you'll get into very big trouble for doing that. You only are to pull the fire alarm if you see smoke or flames. Never pull it without any smoke or flames. You only pull it if you see smoke or flames. If you pull the fire alarm without evidence of a fire or without fire in general, you can get arrested. So, do not ever pull the fire alarm unless you see a fire. If you see a fire, then pull the fire alarm. But if you don't see a fire, don't pull it. I mean, I'm not going to pull the fire alarm unless I see a fire nearby. If there's a fire, then I pull it, but if there's no fire, I'm not going to pull it or else I'll get in huge trouble. So, the fire alarm is never something to be pulled unless there's a real fire. You only pull these things if there's a real fire, okay? Unfortunately, there's some people that don't pull the fire alarm for the right reasons. And got in a lot of trouble. You only pull it if there's a real fire. If you see a fire, then you pull the fire alarm. But if you don't pull it. False alarms can lead you to jail. And you will have to pay a lot of money if you pull the fire alarm without a real fire. So this is why you should not ever pull the fire alarm unless you see a real fire. The fire alarm is not a toy. It's a life safety device, and it is only to be pulled if there's a real fire in the building. Only authorized staff can set off the alarms for the monthly practice drills in school and can test the fire alarm system. You are only to pull it if there is a real fire. Kids, you only pull the fire alarm if there's a real fire in the building. If you see a real fire in your school, pull the fire alarm. But if there's no fire in your school and you just pull the fire alarm to just get out of class, you can't do that, or else you'll get in very big trouble. So, don't ever pull the fire alarm unless you see a fire in your school. I mean, this is very serious business. You could go to jail if you pull the fire alarm without a real fire. If there's a real fire, you pull the fire alarm and you won't get in trouble if you pull the fire alarm with a real fire. But if there's no real fire, you will get in a lot of trouble if you pull this alarm. So this is why you don't ever pull the fire alarm unless you see a real fire nearby. Bye.